As the war in Europe escalated, German tank crews considered themselves unmatched on the battlefield. The Panzer III and Panther commanded respect and fear. Meanwhile, American engineers were developing a medium tank destroyer that would later be designated the M10 Wolverine. Initially, German soldiers laughed at this new American vehicle. Thin armor, an open-top turret, and what seemed like weak artillery. Yet the tank's actual effectiveness proved to be quite different. The M10 Wolverine was built on the M4 Sherman chassis but received a new 3-inch anti-tank gun capable of penetrating German armor at medium ranges. The open turret design provided exceptional visibility, unusual for American vehicles, and allowed crews to fire quickly from cover. Its mechanics and mobility made the tank surprisingly agile, and the intended tactical use emphasized ambushes, where M10 crews didn't have to engage in direct confrontation with heavier German machines. Early encounters with German units on the North African and Italian fronts revealed that the laughter of German tank crews was premature. The thin armor did make the M10 vulnerable to direct hits, but mobility, stealth, and precise fire allowed it to destroy opponents without exposing itself to fatal danger. This marked the beginning of the M10's reputation as a true nightmare for German tank crews. Spring 1943 marked the first serious trials for the M10 Wolverine. On the Italian front, American units equipped with these tank destroyers began facing well-trained German crews, who considered their Panthers and Panzer IV nearly invincible. The first days of combat revealed that the M10's open turret, initially seen as a weakness, provided a significant advantage. Commanders had 360-degree visibility, spotting German movements long before the enemy came within direct fire range. The M10's tactics were based on ambushes and rapid-fire engagements. Tanks were positioned behind natural cover, hills, trees, or ruins, allowing crews to strike first. At ranges of 800 to 1,000 meters, the M10's 3-inch gun could reliably penetrate Panzer III and IV armor, and against Panthers, while direct hits were sometimes difficult, precise fire on side and rear armor could disable enemy vehicles. German crews, encountering the M10 for the first time, initially underestimated it. They noted the thin hulls and open turrets, expecting easy targets. Soon they realized the weak tank fired, vanished, and reappeared from a new position. The mobility of the Sherman chassis, reinforced to carry the anti-tank gun, allowed the M10 to reposition faster than German tanks could aim. The first major engagement occurred in April 1943 near Rome. An American M10 company ambushed a group of 6 Panzer IVs. Using hidden approaches and long-range fire, the company destroyed 4 German tanks without losing a single M10. This incident quickly became known among German tankers. Laughter turned to caution, and subsequent German intelligence reports highlighted the unpredictability and effectiveness of the American tank destroyers. Thus, the M10 Wolverine earned its reputation, a tank that appeared vulnerable yet functioned as an ideal predator on the battlefield. German crews gradually understood that simple superiority in armor or gun caliber did not guarantee success when the enemy mastered stealth, maneuver, and precise fire. Summer 1943 marked the stage of large-scale integration of the M10 Wolverine into American operations on the Italian front. After initial successful ambushes, commanders quickly realized that isolated encounters with German tanks did not fully reveal the potential of the new tank destroyer. M10s began to be included in companies and battalions operating alongside infantry and artillery. Special attention was given to coordination with infantry units. American officers understood that the M10's open turret could be vulnerable in direct confrontations, so tank crews operated closely with infantry, which protected flanks and detected the enemy before they approached the tanks. Cover was provided by natural obstacles, defensive lines, and reconnaissance intelligence gathered by forward units. Using the M10 in combined operations quickly showed results. In July 1943, during the advance into Sicily, tank units effectively broke through German fortifications, destroying armored vehicles and creating gaps in enemy defenses. The M10 employed a shoot-and-move tactic. The tank fired, repositioned, and the next shot came from a new, unexpected angle. German commanders began taking notice, realizing that traditional methods based on armor superiority were becoming increasingly ineffective. At the same time, engineers and tactical officers enhanced crew training. New exercises focused on coordination between tanks, precision firing at moving targets, and setting up concealed ambushes. Practice demonstrated that a crew skilled in maneuvering and stealth tactics could destroy enemy vehicles twice as fast as tanks with equivalent firepower and armor. Reports quickly reached German reconnaissance units. Observers noted that American M10s acted not as isolated machines but as a coordinated network, where each unit could influence the enemy group. German tank crews, who had initially laughed at the open-top tanks, began changing strategies. They abandoned linear attacks and proceeded with caution, wary of sudden shots from unexpected positions. A notable example occurred at Montepulciano in August 1943. Two M10 companies, operating with infantry support, destroyed 5 German tanks and several self-propelled guns in a single day, losing only 1 tank in return. The effectiveness of the American tank destroyers at this stage demonstrated a new level of threat to German armored forces and reshaped the enemy's perception on the battlefield. Autumn 1943 brought new challenges for German armored units, as the M10 Wolverine was increasingly deployed in Allied operations on the Italian front. After several successful battles in Sicily, American commanders decided to expand the use of tank destroyers by creating specialized companies tasked with eliminating German tanks and self-propelled artillery. The M10 tactics relied on mobility and surprise. Crews learned to rapidly reposition after each shot, avoiding direct confrontation with heavier opponents. The 3-inch, 76.2 mm gun allowed them to engage medium and light German tanks, while the open-top turret provided excellent battlefield visibility and the ability to track enemy movements. In hilly terrain with narrow roads, German tank crews grew increasingly uneasy. Traditional Panzer Group tactics, based on linear advances and tight coordination between tanks, proved vulnerable. Individual M10s could observe the enemy from concealed positions and relay coordinates to artillery, creating highly effective fire points. A key example occurred at Salerno in September 1943. Several M10 companies, operating with infantry and artillery support, halted a German counterattack, destroying over 20 enemy vehicles with minimal losses. German observers noted that American tanks, despite lighter armor, operated more cohesively than their own forces. Engineers and tactical officers continued to enhance crew training. Methods for working alongside engineering units to overcome minefields and destroyed bridges were developed. Training emphasized stealthy movement, rapid concealment, and the use of natural cover for maximum protection against direct fire. These operations demonstrated the strategic potential of the M10 not only at the tactical level but also across entire divisions. American tanks became more than a threat to individual German vehicles. They influenced the planning of entire defensive lines. Commanders recognized that new reconnaissance and defense strategies were required, as old methods no longer provided reliable protection against American tank destroyers. After the first encounters with German tanks, American forces quickly realized that the M10 Wolverine, although designed as a tank destroyer, required tactical adaptation to maximize its effectiveness. Its low profile and rotating turret provided an advantage in ambush tactics, but the light armor made it vulnerable in direct engagements. Unit commanders began using the M10 not as a primary battle tank, but as a tool for flanking maneuvers and infantry support. Special attention was given to coordination with artillery. As the number of M10 Wolverines increased among Allied forces, German tank crews faced an unexpected threat. The light tank destroyer could effectively engage even heavy tanks like the Tiger and Panther. On the Normandy fronts in 1944, M10 crews employed ambush tactics, occupying elevated positions and narrow alleys where German tanks lost their range advantage. The Wolverine's armor was insufficient for direct duels, so crews relied on mobility and unexpected firing angles. Operations were coordinated. Each vehicle could support neighboring tanks, adjust targeting, and retreat to safety after firing. The Germans, accustomed to classical linear tactics, found themselves under fire from unpredictable directions. Combined actions with infantry and artillery proved particularly effective. Radios allowed the coordination of attacks on German tank positions, providing rapid artillery targeting and minimizing Allied losses. Even experienced Tiger commanders noted that sudden M10 attacks forced hasty, often flawed decisions. By the end of the Normandy campaign, the M10 had earned a reputation as a vehicle capable of neutralizing the enemy's armor advantage through flexibility and coordination. Allied tactical innovations proved that, in modern combat, information superiority and mobility could surpass raw firepower.